Okay, now that the paint booth, blast booth is all done, I can get to work on this guy. But really excited to be on this thing again. I've got it lowered down onto the cribbing blocks, and I've got it leveled from front to back along the rockers, side to side along the package tray and the dash. It's still attached to the rotisserie, but only loosely. Figured I'd start by cross bracing the inside of this thing so that whenever I cut the floor out of it, it doesn't move or become unsquare or whatnot. So I'm gonna cut some angle iron and weld it into here and up there on the A-pillar, cross it here, cross it across the back here as well, and then run pieces that go from that A-pillar over to this corner and vice versa so that we can keep it square and straight. Got the front cross braced here, sitting in there nice and sturdy. I just got to do the back and then across. Alright, I got the rear cross bracing done here, and I got the cross bracing done. I should be able to start cutting this thing up and not have to worry about it twisting or getting out of shape on me. Yeehaw! Alright, now that I got her all braced up, I can start doing some rust repair. I figure a good place to start is this windshield channel up here. You can see how rusty that stuff there is. I'm going to cut a 1.5 inch wide strip of sheet metal that I'm going to bend into an L shape and contour it to fit right in there. You can see over here that I cut this section here out so I can see what's up in there. And there's some surface rust up in there, but nothing too terrible. And it seems like the rest of the roof metal is in pretty good shape, so I think I should be able to just put some little pieces in there and clean that up. All right, let's cut some sheet metal. That's how you cut an 1.5 inch strip of sheet metal. Alright, since I've got my 1.5 inch wide strip of sheet metal here, it's 2 feet long, and I don't have a repair that I need to do that's 2 feet long, so I'm going to cut this in half and make it easier to work with. I cut my strip in half here, and then I scribed a line at about 3/4 of an inch, and I'm going to use a hammer and beat that over to make an L shape. Okay, I've made an L shape out of that flat sheet metal, and it's going to go up here in this windshield channel. Unfortunately, or fortunately, the windshield has got contour to it, right? Like it goes that way, and then as well it dips around this way. So I'm going to have to change the profile of this with my handy dandy shrinker stretcher. Alright, after using my shrinker stretcher, I put a little profile on this guy, as well as I trimmed it up a little bit, and it fits in there pretty good. Cut it to length. Now I've got to trim along this top edge here, so that it'll match my butcher job of cutting that in there. Since it'll be hard for me to match that profile, taking little bits off of this and trying to, guess at it, I'm going to try and be smart. I'm going to put some lipstick on this pig. So, yeah, my wife loaned me some lipstick that she didn't want, and I'm going to apply it to this surface here, and then press my piece up against it, and that should give me a clear indication of where I need to cut. Let's see if it works. Got her all gooped up with lipstick. Ain't she looking pretty? Alright, the lipstick trick didn't work as well as I'd hoped it would, but I got her cut out, and I got her lined up in there, and you can see here the profile is pretty good on that. You can see up in there, follows the windshield all the way around, so I think I'll go ahead and make the other patches before I burn anything in, and then I only have to break out the welder once. Okay, I went ahead and cut out the rusty area here and here, and I went ahead and made this patch panel for it. However, I didn't cut along the top edge of this yet, so I went ahead and made the patch panel, and now I can scribe a line there and then trim it out, and then hopefully I won't have to fight the fit. The corner here is a bit rusted out, so I went ahead and made this piece come up and around. So we'll see how it goes. That looks pretty good. It's nice and tight. Got a little gap for the welder to fill up. The profile here looks pretty good. I just got to make one more patch. All right, I got that patch made, and got it cut and ready to be put in. I need to pop some holes in this edge here to make way for plug welds. I figured before I try and weld any metal into this, I should probably try and sandblast some of the rust out. So I've got my handy dandy little spot blaster here, and I'm just gonna hit it with some sand and see if I can't clean it up a little bit. There we go. That's better. Sandblasted the rust out of all the areas there that I'm going to be welding up to. For popping the plug weld holes in this patch panel, I picked up this metal punch. It seems to be working pretty well. I figure before I weld these things up, I'll give them a quick shot of weld through primer. I've got this zinc stuff here. It's not as fancy as the copper stuff, but hopefully it'll coat stuff and maybe prevent some future rust. Well, I'm almost ashamed to show this, but the plug welds did not go as planned. I had some issues. I think my practice welds were much better, and I think that's because I didn't practice with the weld through primer, and I think the weld through primer restricted the flow of electricity, so I cleaned it out in the holes before I welded them. But it's like I wasn't getting a good ground or something. Like it was just spitting and puking and being terrible. So anyway, I think they should hold. I'll grind them down and see what they look. There we go. A little quality time with the grinder, and got them smoothed out, taken down a little bit. All right, butt welds are all done. little high here, but a little quality time with the grinder, and I'll knock that down. You can definitely tell where I started and where I finished, because I got a lot better at controlling it. And a little quality time with the grinder, and I got things smoothed out pretty good. I do have some pinholes and some holes that need to be gone back over and filled. If we move the light here, you can see right up in there. Yeah, got some holes there. There's one there. If I can get this thing to focus. Focus. There we go. One there. Other than that, it gets better as I go along, because, you know, I got smarter as I went along and got a little bit better with my technique. This one here has only got a couple pinholes in it as well. Yeah, you see that little guy over there. And then this one over here has no pinholes, but it still needs some more flattening out. The tools that I'm using to clean up my welds here, since my welds are pretty gross, I've got a carbide burr, which knocks down the big stuff, and then I go over it with this this handy dandy little belt sander, which is magical. I love this thing. It really takes the welds down nicely. And then of course a 36 grit on a angle grinder. Ta-da! It's done. I've welded up all the little pinholes and ground everything smooth, and I think it looks pretty good for my first repair job. Seeing as I'm not a welder by trade or have any other real skills when it comes to doing this stuff. You can see that patch there turned out pretty darn good. Focus. There we go. Yeah, looks pretty good. This guy here, a little wipe with some short strand fiberglass will take care of any unevenness, and it should hold the windshield, I'm thinking. You can see the profile here is pretty nice and straight, if it'll focus. Need a phone, need a camera. Anyway, yeah, looks pretty good all the way across there. I dig it. Now I can move on to bigger and badder projects, like maybe the dash.